Drums, please.
Where did you hear that they want to be tan?
What?
Where did you hear that? That people...
Mama said.
Yeah. Actually, tanning is an addiction, buddy. But people, I mean, the world calls it an addiction, but they want to look a certain way. But if your skin wasn't made for the sun and you burn it, you might get skin cancer. Like our skin is made for the sun, but some people, they want to burn their skin. That is not good. All right, ready to kick off this FABcast?
Yeah.
All right. Good. I don't have a watch, but good afternoon, FABcasters. This is R bar with the mini R bar with the other mini K bar in the back seat for another episode of the Drive Time Podcast, where I'm driving, you're listening. Confessions of Restored. Today we are reviewing Every Good Endeavor by Pastor Timothy Keller. Pastor Timothy Keller is a pastor in New York City, New York. Another classic piece. As you can see, I got tabs here because this thing is rich with content. Well, right off the bat here, I'll just have to say this from memory though, but in the foreword says this. Jack Miller says, "Cheer up, you're a worse sinner than you ever dared imagine, and you're more loved than you ever dared hope." So this book is in the context of, as you can see, making sense of our work in light of God's work. So I want to summarize the whole book in this. The summary of the book is, the gospel sets me free from finding my identity through my work. So actually, if I worked at Starbucks, and I used to work at Starbucks, I used to be a barista, I wouldn't introduce myself, "Hey, I'm Ryan, I am a barista." I would say, "Hi, I'm Ryan, I work at Starbucks doing barista stuff," or whatever. And I'm doing this all throughout my life, like in every endeavor. I'm not a surfer, I surf. Surfing may be what I do, but it is never who I am, because I am who I am based off of my birth, not by my performance. And so theologically, this is worked its way into the church. It's crept its way in, where people think they are who they are by what they do. So they think they're... What's up, dude? Do you agree or disagree? Why are you yelling, Mud? Yep, little K-bar agrees with me. So, with that said, one thing... Why is he yelling? Why is he yelling, bud? You don't have to cover his mouth. Let him be a kid. We like the sound of yelling babies. All right, folks. If you work, then you are doing God's work, because all work is essentially filling, subduing, restoring the earth, creation. So originally, God had put man on earth to till the field, to work the garden, to cultivate the earth. Work was never part of the curse. Work didn't come about by means of the fall, but we were meant to be workers right from the beginning. And I find it interesting too that in the Old Testament, God is into gardening, and in the New Testament, God is into carpentry. And so it seems like God is really in touch with the blue collar, type of work. At the same time, Jesus, from early on, at the outset of his teenage years, adolescence, he could rap with the academics and the intellectuals, because he saw right through their stuff and went for their heart. I think this book is applicable to all humans, because we were all created to work. And another thing that Keller says in this book is that it's easy, this is in my own words now, it's easy for someone to fall into the pride, shame spectrum, meaning that their job could either They could feel shameful about what they do for a living, or how they make money, or how much money they make. Or they could be on the other side of that spectrum and actually feel pride or morally superior because of what they do. And that is all a farce. Because what Keller says in here is that the most menial job is just as much God's work, right? Doing what God wants to do on the earth in the mission of restoring all things and restoring shalom to the earth, on earth as it is in heaven. The menial jobs are just as important as jobs like Keller cites too, a doctor and a pastor. So those two, like a doctor might have the temptation to feel morally superior to others because they're in helping roles and they're in the role of just helping people, broken people get healed. What is he doing? Hey, right, bud. Why is he making noise? All right. Doctors easily can fall into that temptation, and pastors can fall to that temptation as well, like feeling morally superior because of the fact that they help people and people look to them for guidance and people go to them for pastoral care and counsel. But it's all a farce, because a body, the value of a body is in its total. There's no disposable parts. Well, I'm talking about kidneys or like wisdom teeth, but you know what I mean. Like, everything's important. And one example in this book is if someone who's in the job of cleaning or sanitation engineering doesn't do their job, or if someone doesn't clean the house, well, eventually that'll kill people. Germs will build up and people will get sick, and then people will die. So janitorial jobs just as important in preventative measures as what doctors do. What else could I say about this book? I think this is also important for believers as much as non-believers, because we were created in the image of God. We were created to find our identity in that first and foremost. And then two, there's something in us that we don't feel fulfilled unless we are working. And that goes back to creation. Like, what were we created for as people? We were created to till the earth. We were created to take care of this place. That's a reflection of what God, what his mindset is for all of creation. God is in the business of restoration of the earth. So I can't agree with Tim Keller enough that we have to keep re-emphasizing the fact that our identity can only be found in God through Jesus Christ. If we find it in our work, then when we get fired from our jobs, we're going to lose our minds and feel suicidal. When we don't get that promotion, we'll feel beat down, we'll feel shameful, and we'll feel guilty, and we'll be kicking ourselves. But if my identity is not in my work, then I am free. I'm free to serve and not expect anything from my boss. I'm free to love my boss. I'm free to work without getting the recognition of man. I am free. I am completely free to work as under the Lord, because essentially for the Christian, the Lord is our boss. And so I don't need approval of man. The gospel sets me free from needing the approval of man, needing the approval of my boss, needing that extra cash. The Lord will always provide. But anyways, you can pick this book up on Amazon. I also got the Audible on my Audible account. If you're using Overdrive, I'm also a fan of that. But anyways, FABcasters, get the book. It's so good. It's not a quick read, but it's a quick listen. Anyways, peace out.